taking shots at the enemy. I'm gonna make it to the top, leave a legacy. If I got something to say, you better let me speak. Turn it up a new degree, bitch, you ain't seen anything. I pop off with the new rock, electronic, blow the sonic roof up. I'm too honest when I take a few shots. They're too toxic, need to take the noose off. And you cannot save me, cause I don't need saving. It's everything I've been chasing, all here for the taking. Don't wanna test your luck with me, I think I've had enough disease. I'm sick of all the bad thoughts, people who are half-nots. You are not as tough I'm back, you know that I never left. I got tracks and some music that you never guessed. I don't slack, don't lose, learn your lesson yet. When I get to choose what I do, I'm like a weapon. I'm not sharp as many, but got hard. I'm ready to change scars to envy, to win large and plenty. I like to play fast, never change back. Calling out, I'll pay back, cause I'm great at that. Oh, you cannot save me, cause I don't need saving. It's everything I've been chasing, all here for the taking. Don't wanna test your luck with me, I think I've had enough disease. I'm sick of all the bad thoughts, people who are half-nots. You are not as tough though. Don't wanna test your luck with me, I think I've had enough disease. I'm sick of all the bad thoughts, people who are half-nots, who are not as tough as me. Don't wanna test your luck with me, I think I've had enough disease. I'm sick of all the bad thoughts, people who are half-nots, who are not as tough as me.
Hello, and a very warm welcome to our second attempt number 2 of doing FPL Agony live. Here to make fantasy football less like hell. Thank you for sticking with us during the technical issue on tonight's show. Hopefully you can all see us. Let us know in the chat if you can. But thank you very much for sticking with us and joining in. So in today's show, we're going to be talking about Gameweek 4, what happened, including how the hell Salah managed to not score in a 9-0 win, which has basically managed to annoy every FPL manager ever. We're going to be talking about Gameweek 5. We haven't got long. It's coming up really, really soon. Not long to pick our teams, make those transfers. It's coming up midweek games. It's going to be a stressful time. A lot of anxieties around that. So we're here to calm those nerves and talk you all through it. So let's bring in our other hosts, FPL's 2 favourite cockneys. Let's start off with one of them. He's known as the Jolly London Jogger. He runs everywhere. He can't stop running. And some say he's as fast as Ronaldo. The Brazilian one, that is. Please welcome Signore.
Oi, oi. Good evening.
And of course, our other host for this evening. He's been walking around High Street North at Barking Road for the last few days, just shouting, "We're staying up, we're staying up." West Ham's first win of the season. Please welcome Scotty.
Hello everyone. Not just our first win, but our first goal as well. So we move, we're living the dream. H2O on me.
Thank you very much. So, please get involved in the chat. I see lots of action in the chat already. If you've got any comments or any questions, and if you're joining us live, please get involved, and we'll be talking about all of this stuff, whatever you say during the course of the show as well. So this is an interactive show. Please get involved. Let's start then talking about Game Week 4 and the results. Obviously, we've got one obvious highlight there, but Signore, anything else you want to talk us through? Where did you do well this week?
Apart from my premiums doing really well, we won't talk about the one who we will not mention until later. But Trent came good, Haaland came good, but also Pablo Fornals, he got me there. Yes, boy. Okay, he has finally repaid the faith that I've had in him. So thank you, mate. And he was in earlier, but just a quick shout out to FPL Penguin, who I've been communicating with on Insta. Hopefully you're still tuned in, brother.
Hopefully, despite all that technical problems. And Scotty, anything that stands out for you in terms of this week's results?
Without kind of repeating what Signore said, but I think to touch on Trent, after the whole debate we had last week talking about keep him in, don't sell him, don't make that mistake. He obviously returned massively. Like, he come back and bit people that would have sold him this week. But was it a 15, 17 pointer? Like, that's lovely jubbly. Like, imagine a captain on him. I mean, that wasn't me, but he really returned for the community. It was amazing. Like, really chuffed with that. Obviously, we can talk about Haaland, but let's just stick to Trent. I'm glad he's back to his double-digit hauls again. So yeah,
absolutely. And we did talk about, or I spoke about last week about maybe not having him in. I did keep him in as per your suggestion, Scott. So thank you very much for that. So Trent finally up and running with some decent numbers. I think his season may have started, but what a fantastic result for Liverpool. Hopefully a little bit more, and hopefully maybe Salah, if you fancy it, maybe just get involved a bit. Maybe it's up to you, but that'd be nice. Help us get some points. Let's talk about each one of your. Go on.
I was going to say, are we talking about him getting involved in FPL or FPL Agony? Which one do we want?
Oh well, I mean, I first of all, I'd like Salah to actually score. That would be nice.
Okay.
And actually, maybe just an assist or something. That'd be nice.
So
you feel like it.
Should we tweet out?
We can tweet out.
We can tweet out.
If he wants.
By Scott. Anyway, yes. I was going to talk about Scott's teams first, but I think, Signore, let's have a look at your team this week. Hopefully
that is absolutely fine, Matty.
So, Rodri Uplonka, 80 points. A great haul for you. Lots of points up there. You did particularly well. Talk us through then your decision making for this week and your thoughts and feelings, really.
Well, like last week, I said that I was one of the red arrows that we have here in the UK. Well, I am a DC vigilante this week. I am the green arrow everywhere. I'm loving it. Okay, so I've had some really good returns. Some players have repaid faith in me, like Dunk got another clean sheet, which is really, really positive. And what me and Scott done really early was we took out Saka and we brought in Luis Diaz, and that has paid off massively. So that has really influenced the points this week.
Absolutely. I mean, the inclusion of Diaz really saved you from how mediocre Salah was in that game. That's really helped you pick up those points. But congratulations, all the green arrows everywhere. That's really worked out for you. I think that's absolutely brilliant.
I said on Instagram, it was like having a all-day breakfast with no toast.
That's a great analogy. I think that's absolutely spot on. We're getting some questions in already, and I think while we wait for Scott to maybe join us again if he feels like it, let's go through some of these. Interesting point from Harrison, who says he's been anti-Salah from day one. That's an interesting point of view. Anti-Salah. I mean, I know he's expensive, but I mean that's kind of insane.
Do you know the one thing I would say, Matt? I think he's well worth his price tag because he has been 13 million for the past 2-3 seasons. Now he's currently on 24, 25 points, 4 games in. If he keeps this going, he's still going to score 230 points by the end of the campaign. I think my maths are correct. That's still a huge haul, you know. He's going to be one of the highest scoring players if he carries this up. So I wouldn't lose faith in him just yet.
No, I definitely think not. I mean, he's if anything, he's consistent. And if you've got him in your team, you know you're picking up points for quite a lot of the games throughout the season. It just wasn't his week, really. Scott, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. I thought you just weren't happy with Salah. You just stormed off. Let's talk about your team, if that's okay, Scott. Haaland saw 74 points. So not quite as good as Signore, but still very high. Probably your highest week so far, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now I'm back. Hello, everyone again. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm really chuffed with it, actually. Last week was such a, really disheartened everything that you kind of planned for over the draft selection and stuff like that, to whack up 48 points was like, oh, here we go, some people are going to give up again. But to come back with a 74 point, I'm really, really chuffed with that. Trent, I know we spoke about it at the start, but Trent returning was lovely. James returning was lovely. Quite surprised about the Cancelo 0-pointer. Obviously, he was not involved in any of their 4 goals and obviously conceded 2. But overall, happy with that. And yeah, we will continue to move with that, I think. Raya picking up basically a set of clean sheet points, which was lovely from the amount of saves he made, and it's some bonus points. So, yeah, I can't complain at all, and ready for the early game week 5, really.
Good. You captain Salah. Imagine if you captain Diaz instead. Wouldn't that have been nice? Or even Haaland.
Absolutely. Everyone knows, on the stream last week, me and Signore both spoke about the fact we we made very early transfers this week, because I just didn't want to lose that 0.1 on Saka. I really trying to build on my in the bank funds, and I thought, I knew he was going down. I had to make that move, and it's paid off massively, because I know Saka got an assist this week, and it's a comeback of sorts. But I mean, if I had still kept him in, I would have been well down on my score. So it was a transfer that completely paid off, didn't take a minus. And I think him against Newcastle at home could still be a very good move to keep him in the team for next game week,
Yeah, no, I think so. And I think what's really interesting, I think, is what we do with these teams going forward, because both of you have done quite well. And we'll talk about your intentions for game week 5. I get the feeling not much is going to change, because actually some of your players are really going to start to pick up. And hopefully Jesus can join them soon. Hopefully Jesus and Salah, you two. You're quite expensive, the pair of you. Come on, let's get something going. I think what we'll do is we're going to continue just for the moment talking about game week 4. But what I would like to do is to go to the FPL Agony League and take a look at what is going on there. Looking pretty good. So we have Ben Raskino, Jesus Walks, great team name. 80 points this week, currently sitting top of the league. Some pretty good stuff there. Gaz, we have to talk about Gaz, right?
Oh, brilliant. Yes, my man.
Gaz is right up there, so well done.
This guy's come in and stole the show already.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if you saw the direct message on Twitter, but he did send one and going, he feels really bad about just coming in and taking that top spot, especially from a friend of ours and Liam Ertone. But I think if anyone deserves it, is Gaz, for everything he's done for us. So if you're watching, mate, I'm really chuffed that you've got involved with the league. So thanks very much, man.
Yeah, I mean, great haul, all 83 points. Quite similar teams, looking at it, quite a lot of similar decisions that you two have made. So your points are looking quite similar there, but, looking really good. Some great teams at the top. I remember Liam, who was top last week, is still right up there in the top 3, 75 points. So a lot of consistent players in our league doing really, really well. Some interesting stuff, definitely. Let's go down to the bottom, because we like going down to the bottom of the league. We have to scroll for about 20 minutes to get there. We're now at 261 people are in our FPL Agony League, which is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, so...
Mate, FPL Tempo has asked about the league code. If you've got it, could you bang it in there, please, in the chat?
No, I don't have it, but there's a short on our channel, and it's at the end of quite a lot of the videos. But we'll put we'll put it on Twitter, won't we, Scott, or something?
Yeah. Anyway, Temps, I'll send you a direct message, man. If not, no dramas.
All good. Right, let's go back then to the bottom of the league. Wow, third from bottom has 103 points, but I'm guessing that's because they've only just joined. But that's not bad at all. They triple captained Haaland and got 51 points. Not bad at all. I don't think you're going to get a much better result out of a triple captain than that, really. I think that's a solid shout. Unless there's
Not for a single.
Not for a single game week, of course, Scott. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well done, Yassin Alam. I mean, well done.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Brilliant stuff. Okay, let's see. Who can we mock? Let's have a look at the points for this week. It's someone with 29. There's a score of 29 for game week 4. So, yeah, I mean, Walker 1 point, De Silva 2. Rodrigo, who we mentioned in the last show, only picked up 2 points this week. Son at Spurs continues to be absolutely dreadful value for money in FPL. We talked about, and I think James Blackwell, who joined us in the chat last time, talked about getting rid of Son. I got rid of him the week before. I think we can agree, Signore, pretty bad value for money.
Yeah, it's a shame because he has been an outstanding player for me in the past. But football's all about the present. So I'm sorry, mate. You are not in my team this season.
But well done to everyone who's kind of taken part in our FPL Agony League. Some great stuff. I've plummeted. I've got red arrows all over the place. It's pretty sad, pretty depressing. But onwards we march, eh? Okay, so I think it's time for our new segment of the show where we get to take the mickey a bit more out of some people. Because I'd like to go to Bench Nightmares. Oh, let's turn that music up. Oh. Time for Bench Nightmares. Oh, right.
There's some pain there, isn't
there? There is some absolute pain in some of the teams that we've seen this week. Let's go through some of these. So, Moomin Ronaldo. This is shocking. This is a shocking bench. I love this feature show so much, by the way. It brings me joy because no matter how bad I think I've done, I look at some of these benches. So Moomin Ronaldo got 38 points. Basically, could have swapped half his team out for the bench. Had Henderson on the bench with 9 points, Mitrovic with 7, Shah with 1, and Dunk on 7. That's a pretty high-scoring bench.
I mean, the thing is, looking at his team, I probably would have put some of them in the starting 11.
Yeah, well, absolutely, you would. Absolutely, you would. I mean, that's a strong bench, to be honest. It feels like a complete waste of talent, really. Shabazz says, shiver ran down my spine. Absolutely. Scott's face says FPL tempo.
Yeah, because everyone thought I was frozen again. I know he was, but I wasn't. I was so shocked. I was in a nightmare.
Let's have a look at, how do we say this? Pibovci? I don't know this team name. So, it starts off fairly normal. Like Edison, 1 point, fine. Tony on the bench, 2 points. Again, two players who could start. But then we get to the Brighton players. Brighton doing quite well so far this season. Trossard with 6. Gross with 11. That's a high-scoring bench. Once again, very sorry. But that is a complete nightmare. Let's go on to Everton. And we spoke last week about how someone had benched Jesus. I mean, I would never bench Trent Alexander-Arnold, but Tom has.
Along with
Ramsdale on 2, Salah on 3, and Tony on 2. Hang on, sorry, we need to pick out the psychology of this one. Imagine.
I think this person just likes agony.
Imagine having £20 million worth of two players worth 20 million, and they're on your bench.
Hashtag FPL casuals.
A moment of silence, I think.
That silence says it all. That is insane. That's shocking. What are we looking at
They'll score quite well, but if you would have kept the faith, you're scoring big points. You're scoring more than all of us.
I mean, what? In what world? Do you sit there with the FPL Agony hat 1 week and go, do you know what? I think I'm going to put Johnson over Salah, I think, this week. I think that's what I'm going to do. I mean, he's doing that. That's
Hey,
insane.
if ever Tommy's checking in, please let us know what you were thinking, because
Yeah.
we need some logic behind this.
We're not being mean, but dude.
Oh no, because we're going to have some shockers this week.
sort it out, man. How much is that? We need to figure this out later. I want to know how much that bench is worth. That is the most expensive bench I've ever seen. I'm sorry to dwell on this, but what is going on? Oh, wow.
That last bench don't look too bad, Matt.
So
I've just seen
here's the thing. Here's the thing about the last team. This is Nori FC. 78 points. That's a good score. The bench is fine. You've got Mendy with 3, Andreas with 2, Vestergaard with nothing. He collected Archer with 1. So it's not a high scoring bench. This is technically not a bench nightmare. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in on this, because this is quite sad.
Oh my God.
Jesus, not only captain, but triple captain. 3 points.
No, you're feeling pain. You must have been so mad. So mad when you saw that.
Do you know what? I'm going to have to delete that. I can't look at that. Sorry, goodbye. What? Isn't that just the worst? I mean, honestly, there was me and Scott and I, when we played FPL last season, there was a mutual acquaintance that we worked with who put triple captain on Jack Grealish and picked up 3 points as well. I mean, do you remember what I was talking about? Right. I mean, that was hilarious. But man,
Hey, now, Nuri FC, we are here for you. Check in. We'll make sure that you are okay.
Yeah. I mean,
send us a letter, let alone a tweet. Just send us a letter. I mean, we will respond. And first class post.
I think to be honest, yeah. If I was manager of that team, I'd actually would send the handwritten letter, because I wouldn't be using my phone anymore. I think I'll just put my phone in the drawer and just leave it. Just out of sadness, really. I mean, wow. Okay, well, there we are. There's our bench nightmares. That was fun this week. We had some shockers. Man alive. Let's move on to game week 5. I've been keeping an eye on the chat. We've got lots of questions coming through, which I'm really excited to kind of go through and answer, which is great. Let's first of all have a look at the fixtures for game week 5. In the chat earlier, someone mentioned it's a double game week and whether they should play triple captain. But just to confirm, this is not a double game week. It's absolutely not. I mean, I had to Google it. We had a minute countdown to go. I saw that. I was like, hang on a minute. I've got an extra slide of fixtures to put up on here. So it's not. So don't be fooled. Just thinking that we've got midweek games, that it is somehow a double game week. It is not. Hold fire on your triple captains. All right? Just stay calm. Let's have a look at the game week 5 fixtures. So we've got Crystal Palace versus Brentford, Fulham versus Brighton, Southampton versus Chelsea, Leeds versus Everton, and Arsenal versus Aston Villa, Bournemouth versus Wolves, Man City versus Forest, West Ham v Spurs, Liverpool v Newcastle, and Leicester versus Man United. Scotty, any fixtures that stand out for you? What are you looking forward to?
Obviously, with my players and my team, I think the Man City Forest fixture is quite tasty at home. I know Forest did quite well yesterday against Tottenham. I watched their game and they did attack them and they had a few chances, but I still think they're quite vulnerable at the back. And I think Tottenham could have had a couple more, especially on the counter-attack and stuff, especially because I think Forest tried to play Tottenham at a similar game and Tottenham are just better than them and at that. And I think potentially if Haaland is going to start, which is, I don't know if we're going to speak about that because that's going to be quite a big debate. You know, Pepper spoke about that, about his rotation that will be needed, especially when the UCL starts and whatnot. So if he is going to get starts and we get some leaked news that he will start, I think Captain Haaland is quite tasty for that fixture, I think. And, you know, and anyone else that have got triple City or double City, I think will be looking forward to this particular game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the one to look forward to. I mean, I've got 3 City players, so that's the bit I'm looking forward to. Signore, anything that stands out to you in these fixtures?
Stands out. I just hope that Pep plays Haaland. I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, seriously, you bought the guy to score goals, and you need that centre forward. Pep don't do this to me, please. Like, I'm going to be like this all the way up until I see the City lineup because I'm thinking of captaining him. Why wouldn't I? After this week, he looks sharp, he looks mean, he's the highest scoring player thus far. Other than that, I'm looking at Leeds and Everton just for a little bit of scouting, really.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a few questions posted. I'll just come back to the Haaland issue. Someone asked, "Do we reckon Haaland will get dropped?" I think choose if you captain Haaland, pick your vice pretty carefully as well. Let's be honest, just in case. I think, but absolutely some tasty fixtures there, and it'll be interesting to see whether there's momentum now for both Liverpool and Man United picking up some wins after maybe some difficult starts. 2 games, not particularly easy, versus Liverpool v Newcastle, Leicester v Man United, so Man United away. What are we feeling in terms of the Liverpool Man United game, Scotty?
I think, again, the Liverpool game is going to be really tasty this week because Newcastle are a very good outfit this year. You know, under Eddie Howe and the back end of last season and stuff, they really proved that they're going to give those big teams a game. You know, we spoke about the City-Newcastle game from 2 game weeks ago now. And they really gave him a good game and they was able to, claw a 3-3 draw out of it. Not claw, sorry. Take a 3-1 lead and City had to claw back. And it's one of those games for Salah that can he come back now and be that explosive player we all know he can be, especially when he's up against it and there's critics out there, or the FPL critics are out there. He comes back and just nails a game there, and he could be the one that gets a hat-trick this week. You don't know. You know, there was chances for Haaland this week. But it's true, I know, Signore, I can see your face, it's so true. He could come back and absolutely nail Newcastle here, and I think it's going to be a really tasty game. I'll be a bit cautious on doubling up on Liverpool defence for this one, if I'm honest, because I know a lot of the Robertson keepers, it really paid off this week for them because he got a solid return this week with an assist and the clean sheet bank as well, obviously, before he went off. So I'd be a bit unsure on a double Liverpool defence, but I'd be still quite intrigued by a double Liverpool attack. And I still don't think Firmino is that option, by the way. I just want to get that out there. He normally has a very good start to the season. He gets a massive haul and then he goes quiet. You know, so he's still not that prime option for me. I think when Jota's back and Nunes back is from his suspension, he still won't be that main striker choice for that centre forward choice for Liverpool, in my opinion. But yeah, I think that game is very, very tasty, and I'm still not sure on Man United, if I'm honest. You know, I think they're up against a really weak Leicester team in my. So I think it's the prime game for them. But this is again where we see how Man United have come and how far they've come. Spoke about on the stream last week, and it just takes another game or so to really work out. You know.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. FPL Tempo, again, we're going to go back to Haaland, and Signore, I'm going to post this to you. FPL Tempo mentioned earlier, anyone transferring Kane in for Haaland, would you bring in Kane, even if it's just for like this short period of time, with this uncertainty, would you bring in Kane over Haaland?
I can see the temptation. For me, no. I just think Haaland's proven already when he plays he's going to score, and he's going to score goals. I mean, Kane probably proved me wrong against West Ham and scored 4, but I can't remember the last time Kane got more than a brace. You know, Haaland, he hits those figures quite regularly. So I would hold on to him.
Scott, as our resident hammer, do you think West Ham can shut out Harry Kane this week?
We're much improved. You know, watching the game yesterday or seeing the highlights, I think we're much improved defensively. I think that's who we are. We base our game on a very good defensive structure. Moyes has got that. But the problem is when you're up against Harry Kane and Tottenham, he will always score against West Ham. And that is, you know, you look through he's one of his best, teams to play against for goals is West Ham. I think Leicester might be up there, Southampton, but we're up there, unfortunately. So it's going to be a really tricky task to kind of keep him quiet. But I think with our back five, if they stick to the same formation, or you've got your Kerras, you've got your Zoomers at the back. I think we're not going to be as open as Forest are. Let's say that. But to add what Signore said, I wouldn't be taking out Haaland yet. Even though Pep comments, and I think it will come, and I think there will be a time, but I don't think this week is the right time. I feel like you'd be kind of wasting a transfer this soon. If you're playing a wild card, and I know a few people that will be, I think, and if you're looking for longevity on a wild card, then you would go for Kane. But right now, if you're just looking at transfers without wild cards and whatnot, you keep him in. You keep him in for now, 100%. On the back of a hat trick, you'd be mad. You'd be absolutely insane to take him out. You know, as Signore says, Pep needs goals. Haaland scores those goals. Why would you take him out this soon? You know, again, captaincy is a difference. Maybe not bank on the captaincy. I mean, also you think about your vice captain. You could be worried about that as well, because then if Haaland comes off the bench for 25 minutes, you might only get in a single point. But again, we know how explosive he is. So that having that as the option is, I think, even having him for 20 minutes, is still solid enough than not having him right now, personally.
20 minutes of Haaland over 90 minutes of Harry Kane. Ooh.
I didn't say that.
For this week. For this week.
Please.
Fair.
For this week.
No, that's fair.
For this week, you know, two clubs, Forest, who just got beat by Tottenham, they're now playing West Ham as in Tottenham. You know, City are playing Forest. I'm gonna get crucified for this, but yeah, I'm not taking them out, peeps. All right.
No, I don't think any of us are. I know I can appreciate the anxiety around Haaland, but I think we're going to keep him, to be honest. We've had a couple of questions about captain suggestions. So I think now's the time that we'll just take a look at both of your teams. I think both Scott and Signore, you've locked in. So we can talk about your teams and we can talk about who you've got as captain as well. So Scott, let's have a look at your team for this week, for game week 5. Talk us through it. What have you done?
Well, I would say locked in. I'm 95% locked in. The only issue I'm having here is Leon Bailey. I mean, I know I spoke about getting rid of him and I feel short of making him get out of my team ASAP, but I just thought after his midweek returns, if you wish, in the cup, I know it doesn't count, obviously, but seeing him play really well, I was quite surprised that Gerrard dropped him against us yesterday. And, you know, relying on him coming off the bench to get a return is very, very unlikely. So he's the only one I'm a bit sceptical on. If I don't get rid of him this week, obviously I'll be rolling, and I think that next week with the 2 free transfers, we'll obviously get onto that later. But I'm happy with it. I think Andrea's, you know, dropping him last week against Arsenal was the right call. And I think that fixture this week looks quite good for him. And to be honest, the bench options, you know, tell me on the chat, guys. Looking at my bench options, are they any better than what I've got in the starting lineup with the fixtures? Archer is just a placeholder. He's an enabler. That's going to get me, you know, he's a 4.5. Trippier is the only one. I want to know, guys, let me know what you think about Trippier. Would you start him tomorrow or start him for the deadline ahead of maybe Bailey? Because at least you know Trippier is going to start. That's all I'm thinking. So I would like to see what everyone's opinions on that are. But I'm fairly happy with the rest of it. I spoke about the double Man City. I think Cancelo and Haaland are good options for tomorrow. Martinelli, who's had a great start to the season, I never returned this week, but I'm happy with that. And of course, I'm not even considering dropping or transferring out Salah. So he's a good option for captaincy this week. I'm still not locked on that right now, but it'll go to the wire, I think, that one.
So a captain Haaland, a vice captain for Jesus. Signore, let's talk about your team. What changes have you made for Game Week 5?
Like Scott, I'm about 95% certain. I've just gone to my favourite position when it comes to FPL, and that is 3-4-3. I think it feels right to do it this week. Bournemouth, I think they're going to still leak goals. I'm hoping Neto has some faith from me that I've kept him for so long now. I've dropped for an ounce, even though he scored, just because I don't think West Ham will do too much against Tottenham. So we'll see on that one. But the only thing I might do I don't know whether to roll, but I don't know whether to bring in Saliba from Arsenal. But double Arsenal defence, don't know.
Interesting one.
I'm loving the song that Arsenal fans are singing about him. Actually, it's a banger. I ain't gonna lie. It's really good.
So a captain for Haaland and a vice captain for Salah. So hopefully that answers some questions for those taking part. Okay, I think at this point I'm going to just pick out a couple of questions that we've had. Let's go back to our fixture list. So, one question here. What to do with Zinchenko? Should I sell him for 0.1 profit before I drop... Should you sell Zinchenko?
Not for me.
I mean, surely it depends on who... Scotty, I mean, you're shaking your head, but surely it depends on who your other defenders are.
Yeah, and I know I actually don't know how bad the injury is, and is he definitely out for the next game? I actually don't know that. I've seen a couple of questions on Twitter, and I've seen a few debates from other accounts asking about, making sure you don't lose that 0.1. I think if he plays, he's guaranteed. I mean, I don't think watching Tierney the other day, I don't think he doesn't look as confident in that left back role anymore, and there's a slight chance that Zinchenko nails himself as a left back at Arsenal, other than going into that centre midfield, because I think they're okay in centre midfield at the moment. I think Xhaka's doing all right. So when he's back, I think he's proven already at with his assist in his debut that I think he will return a lot this season, and you're only going to want him to come back in your team anyway. I think he's probably the best Arsenal defender to have, in my opinion. I know Saliba's fantastic for his value, but I think for regular or potential regular assists, Zinchenko is the one. So I would hold. Personally, I would hold. Depends on what your team structure is looking like and what your other defenders are. Yeah, of course. But I think if we're just talking about him in general, I think you hold him. I really do. I think we hold.
Okay. You agree, Signore?
Yeah, no doubt. And look at the chat as well. FPL Tempo. That's giving me more confidence just to say keep him.
Yeah, I think so. Not that I've got him, but I think that's a pretty solid shout. I've got a question from Harrison. Palace have come through a difficult first few games, looking good. Their fixtures are much easier now. Is a Palace player a must? Would you have a Palace player in your team?
I was
do you want me to go
Zaha.
first?
Sorry, I should ask the question to someone tonight. I'm not doing my job properly tonight. Signore.
I was looking at Zaha before, and I think I mentioned him last game week, and he's impressed me. He looks sharp. He looks hungry again at Palace. So he would be someone I'm looking at, even though he's injured. Not sure about his availability for the next game week, but easy. I like this kid. He's good, and he's starting to have an impact. He's not just a good player now. He is making assists. He's getting big chances to play into people. He is starting to play. And they will be solid at the back. It's just about when they can, pick up them clean sheets. But normally they do that at Selhurst Park. They don't get too many clean sheets on the road.
Scotty?
I agree with the Eze transfer. I think we spoke about him. Was it last week's stream with Football Fumble, or was it the week before? But yeah, I think for his value, for 5.5, if you can't get up to the 7 million or 7.1 Zaha is, I think it's a no-brainer bringing in a Palace mid. I really, really do. I mean, I think you're right as well, Signore. Talk about their clean sheet potential at home at Selhurst, and maybe not so much on the road. But I think that fixture as well is quite tasty, because I think a lot of managers have got players from both teams here. You've either got, one or two from Brentford. You'll have one or two potentially from Palace. So it's going to be a real interesting game to see for FPL points, because what would you rather have, a clean sheet for Rayo or one of your Brentford defenders, or would you want some attacking returns from one of your Palace guys, Because I think a lot of teams I've seen with Zaha in. But I think if you can't afford Zaha, I don't think Eze is necessarily a bad alternative. I think he's, for value, for 5.5, you're laughing, really. I think, didn't he get an assist at the weekend as well? I'm sure he did. I don't know if it... So, I would.
It's a difficult place to go as well, Selhurst Park. You know, I've been there as a fan, and I was sat behind a pillar for the whole game, so that was a waste of time. You know, so it's difficult just not only for the players, for the fans as well.
You didn't see none of it, did you? Really, let's be honest.
Nope.
Can't
I heard a
comment.
goal go in and I cheered.
We got a question earlier, much earlier, from James Blackwell. And it's a question to all of us. You can only have one premium player in your team, but you cannot have any other players from their team in your draft, and you cannot captain them. Which player are you picking?
Oh, it sounds like a cameraman challenge.
It does, yeah. James is stealing my job.
I thought the
That's not
application
bad.
forms. I thought the deadline for application forms went out like last week. I don't know if people
James,
still
you
want to
missed it,
join.
mate. You can't have our job now. So one premium player in our
Ooh.
team, but no other players from the same team, and we can't captain them. Which player are you picking?
Scott, you go first in this. I'm scared to say anything.
So we can have him in there, but he can't be captained. Is that
Can't
what
be
he is?
captains and no other players from the same team. So
Ooh,
my
I think-
initial thoughts, you're thinking of Haaland or something like that, but then you're ruling out
Yeah.
Cancelo or KDB.
Yeah, of course.
That's the tricky thing.
Do you know what? I'm good. Right. I think after what he's done this week, I'd say Trent. Would you cast him as a premium? Are we going that far to say he's a premium? He's a premium defender. I think that counts.
In terms of the defensive price range, I think that might count.
Yeah, I just think because with Liverpool, I know obviously the first instinct would be to say Mo Salah, 100% easy, obviously, but I think there are numerous attackers out there for Liverpool. You know, your Diaz's, your Jotas, your Nunes, your Firminos that can return as well. It won't always be Salah, as obviously Saturday proves. Obviously. But I think Trent is so explosive on his day. He could easily grab a goal and 2 assists and clean sheet points. He really, really can. And I just think that would be the one that you just wouldn't want to lose at all, personally. After backing him last week and him returning for me this week, I'd say him.
Signore?
Yeah, Trent was near the top of my list, but I didn't want to say that because how can you not have like Salah, Luis Diaz, even Jota when he comes back fit? So for me, I looked in the chat actually, and I did consider this person as well, but it might have to be Sterling.
Do you know what? I was looking through that because someone did suggest Sterling. I just put it up there, and I think that's right because I think if you're picking Trent, you can't have any other Liverpool players in your team. Like no, I don't think I could do that. I never pick. I support Chelsea, as do you, Signore. I can't have a Chelsea player on my team because they're just so unreliable. Historically, I've just found it to be a pain. I wouldn't mind having Sterling on my team because he's probably the one who's more likely to get points. So I think I lean in a little bit with you there. Harrison suggested Aaron Cresswell, Scott, for his pick. What do you reckon to that?
He's been a very good FPL option over the years. He really, really has. I think the last couple of years he's been a 5.5. He's gone down this year to a 5 mil. And I can see the potential to have him in there. But I think with us, we're going over a bit of a change now. And I know he's one of Moyes' boys. Don't get me wrong. He is really one of Moyes' boys. And he proved that yesterday. He changed the formation for the first 45 minutes to 5 at the back. And he played Emerson for his debut. But he still played Cresswell at left centre-back. So I think he really does trust him. But I'm just not too sure how far you'll see Cresswell come forward in open play when he's playing left centre-back. He might still get the free kicks and stuff like that. But during open play, I don't know how far he will be stepping forward, to be honest. So I wouldn't have him down, to be honest.
Someone suggested picking Harry Kane in response to James's question about the one player. I think that's fairly solid, although that does rule out some other players, Kulusevski and well, in the old days, Son. But Kane's not a bad shout for that one. So
I do think that, yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was going to say, Son will come good again. I think people need to get this out there that he will come good. He will have his moment in the sun, literally. But
Just not right now. and not
No,
why
right,
he's not
no.
in my team. So he can keep doing what he's doing for the minute.
Okay, so I've had a great question which I want to come to at the end, which is about game result predictions for this week, which I think is a great question. I want to come to that
Oh,
in a
lovely.
bit. But before that, I want to go back to something that FPL Tempo said a while ago, because I'm in the same boat. I've got 2 free transfers and no clue what to do with them this week. It's a problematic week for some players, particularly if you've got nothing left in the bank. You've got 2 transfers, there's not a lot of movement, and I kind of feel like I'm in a similar position to FPL Tempo. So what I would like to do, if it's okay with you both, is I'd like to bring up my team. I've not made any changes since game week 4, and I'm in a little bit of a I feel like I need to get rid of someone big, and that it's really quite difficult. So just to go through, in case you can't see it, I've got both the Leicester goalkeepers. I've got Ward and Everson, and that's fine. Ward picks up nothing; he gets me a point a week. All right, that's a problem area. I've got Trippier, Alexander-Arnold, Cancelo, Patterson, and Williams from Forest in defence. Salah, De Bruyne, Martinelli, Jensen, and Andreas in midfield, and Haaland, Jesus, and Greenwood. That was just enabling me to buy Haaland, to be honest, as my strike force. Now, before Trent scored, before Trent had a really good game week, picking up I think 17 points. What my plan was to do was to get rid of Trent Alexander-Arnold, replace him with Saliba, then with my second transfer, either swap out Jensen or Andreas for Rodrigo from Leeds, and I'd have $1 million left in the bank. The following week, I can upgrade Ward, the goalkeeper, to someone who's going to pick up more than 1 point a week. That's where I was at in terms of my thinking. Now that's very much up in the air. I sort of have been looking at Cancelo, 1 point this week, no points the previous week. Not amazing, quite an expensive defender, not picking up the points, but you take him out and then all of a sudden he's going to start picking up points again. So it's a really difficult question. So for those people who are doing some 2 free transfers, what would you do? What would you do to my team, Scott?
Keep Trent. Simple as that. Don't let that cross your mind. Honestly, that again, say it for the 3rd time tonight, but that return on Saturday is what Trent can do for you. Like, for anyone. You know, he's still highly owned. The moves sound really tasty. You know, I spent last stream going on about Rodrigo, my Rodrigo, and I never brought him in, and I was very, very fortunate he never returned at the weekend. Like, that was a bit of a FOMO pick, and I was gutted. But luckily, I got away with it. But yeah, no, I think out of those defenders, if you want to take one out, Cancelo might be the one. If you want me to just looking at it now, I think if we drop him down and you want to drop him, say, to a Saliba or something like that, you can still have Man City defence, Matt, by upgrading your goalkeeper. Can you afford Ederson if you dropped Cancelo down to a Saliba or even
How much is Ederson?
5.5. And he is a banker, Matt.
Ooh.
He plays every bloody week. Literally, without fail. He'll get the odd drop, potentially here and there. I remember when Scott Carson made his Premier League debut, was it last season or the season before? And it was just like, what happened? Zach Steffen's obviously gone now, so he's not... I don't know who their second goalkeeper is, but Ederson is a banker. He's going to play every week. He was at some live tinkering. That's very, very exciting, guys. I like this.
Just theoretically, I don't think it's possible to have all the transfers I wanted, but let's just see what we can do. So if I was to swap out then...
Everson, take him out. Everson will be the one you get rid of out of the 2 Leicester boys.
And replace with... I mean, do you
can have who you
Ederson? Ederson's quite expensive at 5.5. There are cheaper goalkeepers who are doing better. Sanchez stuck out as me as a potential upgrade. But if you're picking a goalkeeper in my position, then what do you think?
We spoke about Sanchez last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think Brighton looks solid. Like I said last week, I like the way they play football. They seem more in their patterns of play. They seem like a good team to hit, especially with their run of fixtures, Matt.
And looking at the fixtures, absolutely, Signore. Fulham, Leicester, and then Bournemouth. That's not too bad. So theoretically, if I was to put in Sanchez, that leaves me 1.6 million to make a future transfer. And let's just say, to be honest, in terms of strikers, I don't think that 1.6 million is going to do much for me in terms of Greenwood. So let's just say then, with game week 6, I want to upgrade one of my midfielders. I mean, so it's going to be between Jensen and Andreas. Who would you pick to upgrade? It's quite exciting, this. I like it. Signore, what do you think?
Maybe Jensen. Because I'm thinking with that money, you might be able to get Harrison. Unless he's gone up again. Harrison at Leeds. Or Gordon.
That's true.
You know, I know Everton don't really score too many goals, but he's 5.5.
Does this roll you out of a Rodrigo move now, Matt? With the
No,
funds?
I don't think it would. If I picked Jensen, who's worth 5 million, and I can swap them around, I think.
If you can get Rodrigo, that's the one.
I can get
Easy.
Rodrigo, Gross, Odegaard, Harrison. Like we mentioned before.
I like the Odegaard pick.
Yeah.
But I've got Martinelli.
Ooh. Yeah.
Surely that's more of a straight swap.
Yeah.
And you're a bit cautious on tripling up on players, aren't you, from the same team, Matt? You've spoke about this a lot.
Yeah, I've got 3 Man City players, and to be honest, a nightmare scenario I've got is that Pep Roulette strikes and he drops KDB and Haaland this week, and then my replacements. Who are my replacements? Patterson
Matt, one thing.
and Williams.
One thing. Do you think that City will keep a clean sheet against Forest? Because if you do, maybe it's not worth getting rid of Cancelo just yet. I'm looking at Trippier. Maybe he's the one to maybe target, because Newcastle's fixtures, they've got some tough ones coming up next 3 or 4 games. And then their run of fixtures look good again. Don't know if he's worth getting rid of for like a 4.5, or there's a couple of good 4 million options, like Emerson now is at West Ham. Don't know. Just trying to think out of the box.
It brings me up an extra 500,000, but then I'm limited to upgrading. How much is Sanchez? Was it 4.5?
Yeah. Can you just do that this week?
Well, then, to be honest, I could make 2 transfers this week. I could swap Trippier out for a 4.5, and I could get a 4.5. I could get Sanchez in, so I could have Sanchez in goal, upgrade Trippier, or change Trippier to someone else, and that upgrades the goalkeeper situation, which is kind of what I was kind of wanting to do.
Can you just upgrade the goalkeeper right now to Sanchez?
No,
with the
I've
funds
got nothing in the bank, and that's a tricky. That is a tricky one. And it brings up a wider question, and I'd love to know what people think in the comments.
Yeah,
if you're watching live, let us know. I've got a freemium team, all right, a menage a trois. I've got Salah, De Bruyne, and Haaland. All right, there is my freemium team. My question to you, having looked at some of the highest achieving players in FPL, actually, is having a freemium team a bad thing? Does that cost you too much elsewhere in your team? And do you think actually you need to limit the amount of premium players you've got to 1 or 2? Scott, what are you thinking?
Yes, so we spoke about that quite early on in the season when we first started the channel about freemiums and stuff like that. And I think they are so explosive. They really are explosive. And you will get sometimes monster hauls from them. But consistency, you're not always going to get that. You know, like, you will have a week where they are going to be benched. You know, you talk about your City. Part of your freemium includes KDB and Haaland. You mentioned it. If they get dropped or rested for a Champions League game, and you've got some dross on the bench, no disrespect, but you have, like, you're what are you going to do? KDB, first sub is Patterson, who's up against, I don't know, say Man City, for example, you know? So you can spread that money across the pitch. Like, you can upgrade your 4 mils here. There are some good 4 mils out there. You know, we spoke about Emerson, but I'm still a bit cautious on Emerson right now because Moyes doesn't want to interrupt too much with his team unless, he sees something in Emerson. He was brought off at half time, by the way, everyone, yesterday at West Ham. I don't know why. I don't know if it was an injury or just he wanted Benrahma to come on. So he took him off and he changed the formation again. So I think back to the question. I think that you shouldn't have a freemium because you can spend the money elsewhere. You can upgrade some serious positions there. Now you could take one of them down. Say for example KDB. Just say give it an example right now. You can upgrade Patterson. Have you got Williams as well? Is that Williams?
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
see. You've got Jensen, you've got Pereira. I think Pereira is a great option, but then you can also target that third striker. I think that right now would be the biggest port of call. If you can downgrade one of your freemiums, what you can do with Greenwood is more important than what you could do with your 4 mils, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
In defence and stuff like that. That's what I think, anyways.
I think that Shush also mentions about getting rid of KDB and spreading that money across, and I think I'm going to do something a little bit more bold in terms of my transfers this week. Yeah,
Ooh.
but then he'll score a hat trick against Forest, and I'll be crying my eyes out. That one you can never answer. Signore, any thoughts on freemiums?
I think when you got all of them on fire, they are worth it. But it does sacrifice the players that you can bring in. A lot of people talk about the 8 million midfielders. Forget them. I think me and Scott have got the best one in the game this season in Luis Diaz. I think he is. I think Kulusevski would be very close behind. You can argue some other players, but for the game, picking up points, goals, assists, whatever, he seems to be the best 8 million. And you could go down to Luis Diaz. You could go even further to like a Gundogan, but then there's more Pep roulette headaches. I think if you look at that midfield, I looked at on like a draft wildcard, Salah with a load of 6 to 6.5 million pound midfielders. And it was going to work, and yet all these guys went up overnight. They all went up 1 point. Oh, I was mad. Now I can't bring half of them in.
You're priced out now, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, out of your freemium players, I personally, and I think he's fantastic, but De Bruyne would be the one. I know it's mentioned on the chat. I know it's mentioned here, because he's the one who will get injured. He's the one who will be protected a bit more by Pep when it comes to Champions League. They might be able to get away with playing, Foden in that middle role up front over Haaland in Europe.
They have options, don't they? They have options in that midfield area. And that's why I'm still a bit wary of Haaland, because even if they're going to rest him, they might give him 60 minutes, which, we was talking about earlier about the Kane-Haaland thing, and, I could get crucified for that comment, but Haaland for 60 minutes is still pretty solid in any Premier League match, in my opinion, So, unfortunately, KDB is an amazing option, but out of them, it would have to be him, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think that's where my thoughts are lying. There's something needs to happen because I've got
You
so
ain't got long
much
to
average. Yeah, I haven't. No, it's literally a matter of hours now, isn't it? Really.
If I could say something, I would say if you could, obviously in terms of what you can do with nothing in the bank, it's quite hard just to make one transfer. But if you could just make the one, then just do the one, mate, or just burn one. Just maybe take Patterson out for Emerson and just don't worry too much until next week. Because I just still think having Cancelo for that Forest game is fire. I wouldn't get rid of him now if that was one of the options you're looking at. Same thing for KDB. Target the fixtures if you can, personally, right now before UCL obviously restarts.
That's great. Well, thank you, Scott and Signore, and thank you to everyone on the FPL community joining us. That's given me a lot to think about. I'm going to be laying in bed at 3 o'clock in the morning today. Going, right, okay, doing about 8 different drafts. One thing I'm not going to do is what Harrison suggests, which is going after Kane, Jesus and Haaland. I did actually have that lineup as my strike force as a draft right up until the beginning of the season, and then I decided not to go with Kane. I just find him it's too up and down, and it's too expensive in that sense. Yusuf says sell Haaland. Nope. No, not gonna do that. I'm keeping Haaland. I think Yusuf wants me to get fewer points. Anyway, I think enough about me. What I would like to do is pose one question about captains, which is this: KDB, Cancelo, or Salah as captain this week? Give me one name, Scott.
Can you go to Signore first, please? 'Cause I'm
Okay,
always
Signore.
Out of those three, I'm going Salah.
Yeah, I'll go Salah as well.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to get controversial there and cause a bit of a stir, but no, Salah,
Nope.
100%.
No, that's
100% Salah.
absolutely pretty straightforward.
This game's stressful enough as it is.
That leaves us with a really good question we got earlier from KPB 1990. What are your game result predictions? So let's do this kind of quick fire between the three of us.
I feel like we're
Scott,
doing six.
Palace versus Brentford.
without the
Are we going to win
without the
250 grand?
That'd be nice.
That'd be very nice.
Right, Scott, Palace versus Brentford.
Do we actually have to give the actual score prediction?
Yeah,
or
give
just
us
the result?
give us score.
I'll go for a Desmond 2-2.
2-2, Desmond, nice. Signore? Someone follows Mirror Football on Twitter.
Oh, that's really tickled me. 1-1.
1-1. Yeah, I was gonna say 1-1. Desmond. Right, so, Scott, Fulham versus Brighton.
Oh.
Now that
1-1.
I will say will be Desmond. I think that's 2-2. Yeah.
You think? Oh, okay, interesting. Okay, we'll go with that one then. Go for a Desmond.
Signore.
I'm going 2-0 Brighton.
2-0 Brighton. Well, I hope so, because I'm thinking about putting Sanchez in goal. That'd be very nice. Okay, so Signore, this is your team coming up. Southampton versus Chelsea. What do you reckon?
3-1 Chelsea.
3-1. I think 2-1 Chelsea. And Scott?
Oh, I think this is going to be a 2 or 3-0 Chelsea. I can see a clean sheet in this game. I really can.
I can't.
As a James owner, that's what I'm obviously praying for. Praying emoji.
Yeah, quite. Okay, so Scotty, Arsenal versus Aston Villa.
We've missed
Actually, no, I
Leeds
skipped
Everton,
one. Leeds versus Everton.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
2-1 Leeds.
2-1 to Leeds. Signore?
No, I don't know. They're both unpredictable, aren't they? 1-1.
2-0 to Leeds for me. Everton are really struggling, and I think we are right in our pre-season prediction to put them in relegation. I'm a bit worried about Everton. Not that worried, but I'm a bit worried.
Yeah. if you're losing sleep,
go on.
If you're losing sleep about Everton getting relegated, please join us on FPL Agony.
Yeah, let us know in the chat tonight. Are you stressing about Everton? Okay, Signore, Arsenal versus Villa.
2-1 Arsenal.
Scott.
I don't think Villa are scoring. I really don't.
Oh,
They looked terrible yesterday. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not up. I'm not saying we're all. Obviously, we're not firing, but that was the game we needed. We needed to play a team like Villa. I think they get a good result in the cup. I understand that, but they're struggling. I think they're struggling, and I think predictions for the first manager to get sacked. I think it's going to be hotting up very, very soon. It's those two away teams next to each other in those fixture lists there, Everton and Villa. I really, really do. So I'd go for a clean sheet Arsenal win.
Okay, yeah, I think Villa aren't quite in trouble yet, but they will be. I think 3-0 Arsenal. I think hopefully a couple for Jesus. That would be lovely, and maybe one for Martinelli.
Yeah.
Okay, Scott, Bournemouth versus Wolves.
9-0 Bournemouth. All right. they're minus 14 goal difference is coming all the way back down again. No, I think this is a 2-0 Wolves win. I think this is a 2-0 Wolves win.
Signore?
Agreed.
Yeah.
2-0 Wolves.
I think the same.
Neto
yeah.
of both, is it, Signore? Neto 2
Bit of luck.
goals. And an assist for himself. He's going to assist himself.
If that's the case, I will give him a little tweet. Just to show him my appreciation.
How did that tweet go of Pablo Fornals, by the way?
Blankety blank, mate.
Yep.
I
That's
got
what I
I
thought.
got what they call the Spanish archer elbowed. So
Very good. Bravo. Okay. Signore, City versus Forest.
7-1 City. Who knows? Honestly, 3-0 City. I think Forest will play well. City will just have more.
Which Forest defender is going to clear it off the line with his hand this week? I wonder. and only get a yellow card, by the way. It's happened twice
shocking.
now.
Shocking. Scott, a score?
What, for that game?
Yeah, City Forest.
3-0.
3-0. I'm going to go 5-0. I think that I reckon City would have watched that Liverpool game and been like, yeah, we need to... I don't know, I just think there's going to be some sort of drive between those two. There's going to be just a bit of competition.
Oh, lovely.
And I just kind of feel like 5-0. I think it's going to be like a bit of a statement game for City this week. Scott, let's go to this one first for you. West Ham versus Spurs.
2-1 Tottenham. Yeah. I don't want to talk about it because it's at home, in front of the fans. Lucas Paqueta, a new signing, could actually be available for the game, which would be very interesting after spending 50 million British pounds, which is a massive fee for the club. But I don't know if he's going to be ready, and knowing Moyes, he won't probably start. I think Tottenham just edge it.
Signore?
Yeah, 2-1 was my thinking. West Ham might sneak a goal. They're at home. But Spurs, I think once they get their noses in front, very hard to break down. It's a typical Conte team, isn't it? So
Park the bus. 1-0 West Ham. Park that bus.
Matt, Scott, how's that going?
Matt, we don't have Sam Allardyce anymore, mate. It's been a while since that's put in.
Where is Sam Allardyce now?
He's retired, I think, to be honest. Yeah,
he's waiting for the Aston Villa job to come available, isn't he?
I was thinking he was waiting for the Liverpool job before this weekend, to be honest. But yeah.
Can you imagine him telling Salah to just kick it long?
Andy Carroll's coming back, everyone. Andy Carroll's, and and I'm not talking about the corned beef Andy Carroll. I'm talking about the
Kevin Davis.
Oh wow! Yes, of course. Yeah. Oh no!
Shout out to the corned beef Andy Carroll.
Okay, Signore, Liverpool versus Newcastle.
2 of Andy Carroll's former clubs, everyone. Hey!
It's the Andy Carroll derby. In that case, I'm going to say 3-0 or 3-1 Liverpool.
I think 3-1. The Andy Carroll derby. That's amazing. Scott?
I think it'd be oh Jesus! I think it's gonna be. Andy Carroll did look like Jesus. I'm gonna go 2-1. I think it'll be a little bit closer. As long as Trippier is involved in Newcastle's goal, and Trent and Salah involved in Liverpool's goals alongside Diaz, I'm happy. Not too much to ask. 2-1 Liverpool.
That'd be quite a boring dinner party, wouldn't it? With all the players who played for both Liverpool and Newcastle, would be sitting around with Andy Carroll and Michael Owen. Yeah, great.
Wow.
I can't get over that. The Andy Carroll derby is amazing.
Oh,
Sky
wait,
Sports, if you're watching that, that's how you need to start it. The Andy Carroll derby.
Didn't James Milner also play for Newcastle and Liverpool? And we all know about James Milner.
Yeah.
Well, he plays for Liverpool. He played for Newcastle, so we know about boring James Milner. That would be a great dinner table.
That dinner party got Andy Carroll, Michael Owen.
Listen, I know it's a long shot, but if anyone of
Milner.
Andy Carroll, James Milner, and Michael Owen watches FPL Agony, let's do a special episode, everyone. That is going to be gold.
Oh, can you imagine? Which one you have to drop from your party? Which one would you drop? Who would you not invite to your dinner party?
Right, guys, cameraman challenge. You have to pick one player who you're going to captain. Or imagine they're all still playing, all right? Just imagine, theoretically, these 3 players are still playing. You're going to captain one of them for this week's fixtures. And I don't mind whether they play for Liverpool, Newcastle. Who are you picking? You're picking Michael Owen. You're picking Andy Carroll. You're picking James Milner. And you can pick which club.
Oh, Lord.
But,
Which club he plays for?
I mean, yeah. Because they've played for both Liverpool and Newcastle.
I would say
pick which...
Owen at Liverpool for me.
Yeah, same here. 100%.
Because I remember him
Michael
scoring
Owen.
quite a few goals against Newcastle, actually. But yeah.
Yeah.
That's Andy Carroll dub. Sorry. Right. Moving on.
People here for
all night.
People here for FPL advice, and they're thinking, who the hell are these lot?
It's FPL 2011. Right. What's happening?
Thank you for the 14 people still bearing with us. We have this kicking fit.
Oh, it's become that sort of evening. Right, we've got one more game. Leicester versus Man United. Signore, what's your score?
I can't think of a player that played for both. I'm going to say...
Harry Maguire.
I'm going to go... Yeah, but he's still playing for Manchester United, isn't he? Like, I'll try and think of players who have left both.
I see.
Anyway, yeah. Maybe 2-1 United. Maybe.
Scott, do you reckon Man United's momentum will keep going for this game?
What's the deal with Maddison? Is he back from his injury? Is he not? I know they scored without him the other day. But...
They don't know yet. They still don't know.
Yeah, 2-1 Man United then. I like that. Yeah.
Okay. 2-1 Man United. I think I'd pick 1-1. I think that's going to be, looking at that, there's a few games I'm looking at in this fixtures that I think are going to be really, really boring. Leicester Man U, it's going to be just dreadful. Leeds Everton, Bournemouth Wolves arguably as well.
Is this why Amazon bought all these game fixtures? Because
Yeah, they're the
very
Amazon Prime games, aren't they? They're your Boxing Day ones when you're half cut and you've got nothing else on TV. Cool. Well, there you go. I hope that answers that. That was a good question. I'm not sure we can do that every week, but thank you for that suggestion of our predictions. So we'll see. We'll see who does well in terms of that. Okay. So we're nearing the end of the show. Any last bit of advice, Scott?
So I was having a conversation with FPL Arrows Gaz over on Twitter, and he's got 2 FTs, free transfers to those that don't know what that means. And he still doesn't know what he's doing. He said he might burn or make the one and roll. Do you know what? If you've got 2 free transfers and you're still in that luxury position on just rolling the other, I'd just do that if I was anyone. Genuinely, that's what I was doing last season. It really paid off when I needed to hit the 2 free transfers in 1 week. I would just do one and roll if you've got the funds. I think that. I don't know. I just thinking about overall the conversations I've had. I think that would be the best bit of advice I'd give to someone for this game week, especially with the quick turnaround. And if you haven't got 2 free transfers, just don't make any, because it's like, I know we said it wasn't a double game week, but it's like an extension because it's so soon. So don't get caught up in too many transfers yet for this week.
Good advice, Signore.
If you like Agony, you like support with Agony with FPL, then why don't you subscribe? Because we are currently one shy of 300 subscribers, and that'd be very
Oh
nice.
yeah.
So how
If
about
anyone can, yeah,
If
if
anyone's
anyone
got a
can join
spare
us for that
YouTube
free
account, just bump us over, to be honest, mate.
No.
pass to a friend as well?
And if you are a 300th and you're watching this on YouTube, you're watching it after it's been live, you're seeing our tweets, get involved. Tell us if you're the 300th and get there quick, because who knows what might be around the corner for you guys.
Ooh, mysterious. We're going to be in the panic afterwards going, what price are we giving? I don't know. Cushion. Make sure that you subscribe to all of our social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. The Instagram logo is not there, but we are on Instagram at FPL Agony. Please check out our store. Our store's amazing. We've got cushions and handbags and mugs and glasses and t-shirts. It's beautiful. bit.ly/FPLA store. And as Signore said, please hit that subscribe button and notification bell to keep up with all of the amazing happenings and all of our live shows eventually when we got going, and all the great stuff of FPL Agony. Guys, it's time to do your sign off.
I won't nick his line this week, so join us next time at FPL Agony, where we will share more stress, anxieties,
and agony that make us love the pain of this game.
And may all of your arrows be green.